Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the channel. I appreciate you being here as always. And today I have a video, a part 2 of something I have done before. This is old driver versus new driver. So I did this a while back, and I did this actually with an old Callaway Diablo Big Bertha I had, which was about 10 years old. So it was a 10-year-old driver compared to a new driver. And what I found out essentially is that they were pretty much exactly the same. I'm an average swinger myself. I swing about 92 to 95 mile an hour with the driver. And I found that if you're in that swing range, honestly, there wasn't much difference. The Diablo driver was amazing when it came out. It had absolutely glorious reviews, and honestly, it was arguably the best driver on the market for that time. So comparing it with something 10 years later, it was honestly the same. I got the exact same number. I think overall, maybe I lost like 2 yards, but it honestly was really surprising, and a lot of you seem to enjoy it, so I thought I would do it again, but this time with something maybe a little older. So I recently was gifted a Callaway X driver, 460 degree, as you can see from right there. This is back when stainless steel, that brushed steel look was all the rage. On the front there, it's just that nice silver with the big X in the middle. This is when they really started to do things that were, a little bit newer, but it still had that just plain chrome look is kind of how it was. And almost every golf club driver had that for a very long period of time. So with that being said, I looked it up, and this is about 15, 16 years old. I believe it came out sometime around 2006-ish based on my research. So it's about 5 years older than that Diablo Big Bertha was. So again, I'm gonna do the same experiment. I'm gonna test it, and I'm gonna essentially see if it is that much different. How much do I gain? How much do I lose? Right now, I currently use a Mizuno STX 220, which is the brand new model that came out for 2022. So it's a brand new driver, and it was also voted the most forgiving by My Golf Spy, so it is a great driver. So we're going to dive right into these numbers and see. Now, the golf ball I'm going to be using to test today is actually the Wilson Zip, and the reason I decided to go that route is because it's one of the best two-piece golf balls I've tested recently. The numbers were phenomenal, and it had really good results off the driver. So I'm going to go ahead and use a ball that I know was good. I already have some good numbers recently within the last month or so from my driver, and let's just see how this one does. Let's dive right in. All right, so a couple things real quick. One, I do expect it to be a lot louder because that whole deadening sound that a lot of drivers have in today's age, that's more of a newer thing. You didn't start seeing that till really the late 2010s. So I expect this one to be loud. And not only that, if you can hear that, there's something in this head. It could be a piece of glue, it could be something, I'm not exactly sure. But overall, this club looks like it's in really good condition. It's not the right flex for me. This is a regular flex with one of those light flexes, so it's supposed to be really lightweight. It is a good shaft. I mean, as far as the shaft, it's still the original Callaway shaft that came with it. And then honestly, the grip is even the same. The grip is still Callaway. It doesn't look like it's been used very much. So in the last 15 years, it looks like it's done a lot of sitting. So let's go ahead and use it here. Let's go ahead and dive in and let's see what we got. Whoa! Okay, so not a very good first swing on that one. So we essentially only got 199 yards of carry. My average is like 220. The degree angle was really low, ball speed was really low. Of course, my swing speed was really low too, so I'm just getting warmed up. We'll get that up. I'm about 87, 92 is usually where I am. So I couldn't believe how dead it felt, to be honest with you. It felt really dead. I was expecting it to be super loud. That's not the case here. It was very dead. I didn't hear a lot coming off. Okay, let's try to put a little more on this one now. Just a little bit more sauce. Again, really low. Not super happy with that swing, but 213, okay, we got up. My swing speed went up to 91.3, and then I did get 131 mile an hour ball speed, which is probably exactly the same as what I would get with my normal club. Yeah, I mean, so far, those numbers are pretty much exactly what I would get with my Mizuno. Now, again, it wasn't a great hit, but as far as the numbers of what I would get if I mishit it the same, that's pretty close to what I would get. So let's really try to get a good hit here, and let's see if I can really lay into one, and then we'll kind of compare the numbers. Nah, it's off the toe. Now that one was a lot higher. Yeah, so okay. So 191.4, 121 mile an hour ball speed, 18 degree launch, so a lot more higher of a launch. I completely mishit it. It was off the toe. Swing speed was about 90, but overall it was just a mishit. It didn't forgive me at all. All right, fourth time is the charm. Come on now, let's rip one here. Let's rip one. Okay, now that's pretty good. That's low, but it is ripped. So let's see. There we go. Okay, 224.6, 137 mile an hour ball speed. That is phenomenal, especially with a 93 mile an hour swing speed. I love that. I got every bit of that. Yeah, those numbers are phenomenal. That's exactly what my Mizuno would do with the Wilson. Let's keep going. Let's go ahead and get 10 swings in. I'll just kind of speed through these, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna get 10. I'll take out the really bad swings, and let's just see how these numbers are as a whole. All right, so I've got roughly about 13 shots there, so I wanted to get a couple extra because I wasn't striking the ball as well as I would like. I'm not the best ball striker with the driver, I'll admit, but I will also say that is why I researched and got the most forgiving driver on the market, the Mizuno, because that's really where I need it. I need a lot of help there. So I don't know what the numbers are yet. I'm going to go inside and really get the whole thing to kind of compare them side by side for you. But I will say my first initial thought process after viewing some of the numbers on the Swing Caddy is they're not as good, but they're not as good because the driver isn't capable of being as good. It's just not as forgiving. So that was the main thing I was noticing. Like I said, I'm not the best ball striker. What I was noticing is when I was striking the ball really well and I got a great swing on it, the numbers were phenomenal. It was like a second ago when I got 138 mile an hour ball speed, great distance, great roll, everything. I mean, as far as these numbers, everything was fantastic. I can't see the spin numbers yet. I'll have to go in and take a look at those. But when I hit the ball right, this golf club absolutely performs just as well as my brand new 2022 club, 100%. Where I'm seeing the difference though is gonna be the forgiveness. And that's really where I think a lot of this technology has advanced the most over the last 15 years is the ability to hit it off the toe and only lose 5-10 yards, opposed to 15 years ago you hit it off the toe, you lost 30 or 40. It was a significant drop off, and I feel like that's kind of where the technologies went. The only problem is it's a shame that companies don't advertise that more. I mean, there are a couple like Ping and Mizuno that do, but the big companies are always about distance. You know, oh, we got this new carbon face that allows you to go further and it compresses it more and blah, blah, blah. It's all about distance, and unfortunately we know by watching like Rick Shields and other big name golfers that most of the time every year you only get about a gain of 1.5 yards. It's just not sustainable, and it's not worth the $600, $700, and hell, even $800 now that some of these golf club manufacturers are charging. It's crazy. This one right here you can get used for 50 bucks, and so if you're new to golf, this could be something where you go out there and say, hey, you know, I can't afford it, but maybe I'll just swing a little easy and I can still get most of what I would get, and you can learn the game without having to spend a fortune, which I think a lot of people, it turns away from golf because they think it's super expensive. So let's go inside and let's get the numbers. Let's see how we did as far as comparing them side by side and see just how bad the forgiveness really was. All right, so let's get into the numbers now a little bit more in depth as far as how the old driver did versus the new driver. Okay, so carry yards. Now this is with the Wilson Zip golf ball, as I stated before, so I do have the other ones. So starting out with the carry, we had 215.4 and total 236.1. Now that's actually not a very big drop off. I mean, it is a little bit. I think it's roughly about 8 yards, somewhere in there, 8 or maybe 6 yards, somewhere in there. But it's not as bad as I thought it would be because honestly, it really performs well. I mean, honestly, I didn't get that much better with my newer club. The ball speed was 132.2, so I lost maybe a couple mile an hour at the most, 1 to 2 mile an hour, somewhere in there. No big deal. Launch angle wise was right in the sweet zone of where it needed to be, roughly about 14.7. That's pretty normal. Smash factor was really good, and then apex for the majority, the most of the time, was pretty even as well. It was a very consistent golf club. And then even if you look at that spin RPM 2860, those are all just really good numbers. They really are. There's nothing bad about these numbers. There's nothing that would shy me away from recommending this club, despite the fact that it's 15 years old, away from the average golfer or away from a new golfer. But the reason the numbers are a little bit lower, these numbers are a lot lower than the Diablo Big Bertha was, which was 10 years old. The reason you're seeing a little bit more of a difference there is it really was the forgiveness. I had to delete a lot of bad numbers off to make these numbers look as good. I had to take probably, out of 13 swings, I think I had to take probably like 5 or 6 away because the numbers were so abysmal because of a mishit. So unfortunately, that was the main thing, is that the club just wasn't as forgiving. That's where all of the new technology and the new research has gone, making the head bigger, making it weighted more in the back, increasing the center of gravity, increasing the sweet spot. So basically where if you hit it off the toe or you hit it off, you know, the inside, you're still going to get similar results. You're going to get at least close to what you had. Whereas on the Callaway X one I was just hitting, not a lot of forgiveness there. You hit it off the toe, you're going to lose 30, 40 yards, unfortunately. And that's just how it used to be. But I was pleasantly surprised by the sound. It wasn't as loud as I thought, and it is still a golf club that really anyone can use. I mean, you're not going to, I mean, sure, if you mishit it, you're going to have some issues. But as far as if you're a guy who's like, hey, I can't afford a $500 driver, I can't afford a $300 driver, I don't even know if I'm going to like this stupid sport, you know, I just need some help. You can absolutely be gifted something like this, or, you know, have your buddy lend it to you, or go buy it for 40, 50 bucks, and you can still play the game of golf just fine, which is awesome. It's really good that guys have the ability to do that. I think it's going to get a lot more people into it. So overall, guys, that's kind of where we're at. I might do another one. I might go 20 years. I might go 30 years. I just have to see what the next club I get my hands on is. But overall, keep watching to keep saving and keep learning like this. Thanks, guys. See you again soon.